What's the dumbest thing you believed as a kid? Don't drink and drive meant all drinks. My dad was super confused when I told him he wasn't allowed to have any soda until we got home. When I was about 6 or so, I asked my dad what the button on the top of the clock by my bed was for. He said it was for the alarm. From then on, I was afraid to push it because I thought it would call the fire department. I thought shoplifting was like weightlifting. Only instead of weights, people were lifting the entire store building. I pictured big, burly, bald men that liked to go around heaving store buildings overhead, grunting and red-faced, like the weightlifters I'd seen on TV. I was afraid someone would try do it while we were out shopping. I wondered what would happen if the store tilted or tipped while the shoplifter was holding it in the air. Would we go rolling to the corner? I tried to ask my mother, but of course, she had no clue what I was talking about. Turning the inside car lights on was illegal. My dad told me he had hearing loss and couldn't hear me if I whined because my pitch would get too high. Would completely ignore me until I asked him questions in a normal voice. Trusted him implicitly until I was 12 and he yelled at my younger brother for whining. When we're born, we're all boys. One day, a time we can't remember, we go into the woods with a knife and hunt each other. When you catch another boy, you cut his penis off. And he becomes a girl. And that's who you're going to marry when you grow up. I have since learned that this is not the case. That if it was raining where I was, it was raining everywhere in the world. That the high-pitched noise on hot summer days was electricity running through the power lines. It was really grasshoppers. That my grandparents were rich. From the time I was born they always got me everything I wanted. And they always had really nice things. And always helped other people with money or anything they needed. When I got into my teens I started to realize they had crippling debt and terrible money management. And just managed to keep it hidden fairly well. But my grandfather still went and bought a brand new pickup truck. And a plow. Both of which he hates 2 years later. And he'll probably never get out from under all of it. That my toys would actually come to life when I was out of my bedroom. I thought dead pigeons turned into newspaper. I think it was because I was in the car with my father taking a trip and saw a dead pig on. Not wanting me to see such a horrible image. He said it was just a bunch of newspaper. Same colors and all. At least the pigeons here. So using my flawless child logic, I deduced that dead pigeons turned into newspaper. Still waiting for that watermelon in my stomach to come out. One time, I wanted to use my Chuck E. Cheese tickets to get Dunkaroos. But my dad said no because those will kill you. After that, I spent a long time staring at kids eating Dunkaroos on the playground with morbid fascination. It was so confusing to me that people were just allowed to poison kids like that, and I kept wondering how long it would take for them to die since it didn't seem to happen immediately. That songs played on the radio were being played live each time they came on. Smashing Pumpkins song at 2 a.m. Assumed they got out of bed for it. My parents never corrected me on that theory. Cats are girls and dogs are boys. My mum told me we used to be apes. I believed her because she told me. But I didn't understand why there were no photos of me of when I used to be an ape. I was a big talker when I was 7. My parents told me I should have my own talk show. One morning I snuck into the living room and to the shelf where we kept our blank tapes, and I wrote my name on one of the labels. I thought that all I had to do to have my own show was to write my name on the tape. No studio bosses. No interviews. No camera. Just my name in pencil on a label and I would magically appear on the screen from behind a large curtain like Leno. When I was in the first grade, I walked to school. I believed that when I left my mum would move the grandfather clock to the side, revealing a secret video monitor, and she would watch me as I walked to school and while I was in class as well as when I walked home. I thought her asking me about my day was a test to see how honest I was. This was in 1984. Also, we don't have and have never had a grandfather clock. My grandfather told me that any time I saw a group of streets named after people, like Stevens Street or Jennifer Road or whatever, that it was because there was a school bus accident there and those were the names of all the kids who died. I really thought school bus accidents were a silent epidemic. I thought Jennifer Lopez was named Jennifer Lopez.